Welcome, Jack and Henriette. I'm so much looking forward to meeting you in person in Norway in June. You are going to do the retreat, or is it a course or a workshop about perfecting deep listening, Jack? What does deep listening mean to you?
Well, what I've noticed is that deep listening is something that a lot of people talk about, but they don't really understand the depth of it, how incredible it can be beyond what they see. And that's where we are going to lead. That's where we're going to point to. And it's a very interactive kind of retreat. So we pair people up and let them practice it because you can only talk about deep listening so much, but you have to have the experience of it. And it's the experience of it that really makes the difference. And that's when people really feel a very close connection to each other there. And I don't think I answered your question. Deep listening to me is a way of connecting to someone's soul. It's like we're listening to someone's soul, and I've never actually thought about that before. It it's a beautiful thing to connect with such a totally empty and clear mind that we are able to hear sometimes beyond what people are even saying. And that's what we're attempting to point to. Henrietta, how do you see it?
Well, I think you framed that perfectly, but I also, what I find is that my life, awareness or just being in a state of mind where you allow anything to happen is deep listening. And when you can do that with someone else, something unexpected shows up and it's always beautiful, right? And we've all been there when we were kids, and we all are there now. We know by heart what people to go to when we need to share something, and it's always people who are present and attentive from that quiet place. So our intuition draws us towards people who are already there, whose minds are easily quieted, and it's something we can all come back to because it's with us anyway. But the busyness of everyday life can be so stressful that we get caught up in our thinking about having an opinion or listening to catch on to something that somebody else says. And if we do that, we're not present. So stepping back, getting quiet, and not expecting any outcome is, to me, how we make space for deep listening. Yeah. And in my life, I find that it's something that's immediately there when I'm with animals. And I think many people can relate to that the unconditional love that animals always send out, because that's all they can do, is something that we can do as well when we quiet our minds. So yeah, that's how I'd frame it. That's what comes up. Yeah.
That's really nice.
Mm.
Speaking of animals, it's like, how do we know what they want? They don't use words. We know what they want sometimes, a lot of times. And that's because we're deeply listening to them. And yet, when people start using words, we forget all about this gift that we have to hear that way. And that's what we want to get, I don't know, back to or get to, when we're in a state of deeply listening to someone. And really amazing things happen when people are in this state of love, really, with someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, what amazing things have happened in your life, Henriette, because of, well, after you know about deep listening, how has things changed for you?
Well, I think I'm mostly just more aware of when I am not and when I am, because it's something I've always been doing, and it's something we all do on and off. So becoming aware that your state of mind is what matters more than anything else has in many ways changed my life, because you don't need anything from the outside world. I don't need anything from the outside world. I can step back into what I am and just listen from that place, and just trusting that I'll be guided at all times, and I am. So all I have to do is listen for it. So I don't know if I've had any like profound changes, other than realizing it's always been there. And that's magical. And I think the best word for it is magic, because magic is a wonderful word. Love and magic are both wonderful words, because it's beyond what our intellect can create. It's something deep within us, and we're made to connect through magic and love. We are magical creatures, if you ask me. Spiritual is the same as magical in many ways, and when we step back into that, magic happens. So
That's
my life is magical.
when I try to teach kids deep listening, I call it magical listening.
Yeah.
They suddenly they're all ears. But what you mentioned is really important, because you mentioned guidance. And guidance is something that we can always hear if our mind is quiet enough. And that's really what deep listening to ourselves is about, as well as deep listening to somebody else, because we get guided about what people need to hear from us. We get guided about what the real problem is beyond what they're saying it is. We get guided about a lot of things if we are in a quiet enough state of mind to hear it. And so that's where we're pointing to in this retreat, which is why, and I've done them now in, well, I don't know how many different countries, but it's something that goes beyond any culture. It is something that I've seen really amazing changes in people's lives just from having gone through the process. Not everybody, but enough people to make me think that we're onto something.
And the reason why I want a deep listening retreat in Norway is I've attended a couple of yours already, Jack, in a couple of different countries, as you mentioned. And to me, I see that deep listening is tuning in to both myself and something greater than that we all are connected to at all times, but we don't always log in as we can do on a web page. And this deep listening for me is logging in, remembering that who we really is and how we are connected. And as you say, both listening to myself and to everyone else. But it starts with quieting our minds, myself. And I've seen that, oh yeah, my listening skills has improved by attending your retreats. And I still know there's so much more for me to see and learn and discover. So I'm so excited that you're coming to Norway, because a lot of Norwegians, including myself, need this and will benefit so much from logging in to themselves more of the time and just being aware that that's a choice. Like you say about our daily lives, it's a hustle, and most people maybe don't even realize that there's a choice to do it differently.
Well, there's a choice if we see it.
Yeah.
Excuse me. If we see it, then we can decide whether we're going to be deeply listening to somebody or not in any moment. And what you said was really beautiful. I'm really looking forward to this. And I can't wait.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing as many of you as possible there.
Yeah, me too. And I also think that what our world is going through at the moment, this is actually the most important thing we can do, is listening, because there's always something inspiring us to look for love and hope and connection, and that is what's going to carry us through anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that says it all.
Yeah.
So welcome so much to Norway on the 6th of June. Looking so much forward to seeing you in real life and logging in with us all.
Thank you.
You. We'll see you, everybody.
Yeah.